Hello dear viewer and welcome back to Oblivion Class Restoration Project, where I am sad because I just said welcome back to Oblivion Class Restoration Project for the very last time.
Why are we still here?
I will stop myself from crying and muscle through this, especially that this is actually quite a fitting finish. It is a really challenging build to make, so for example we can't perk alteration, and we can't have mage armor then, and we also can't perk any armor skill. In Oblivion there was some mysticism spells very helpful in such a predicament. Spells reflecting damage back on the attackers, spells absorbing magicka from hostile spells, and detection spells helping you to stay prepared. And you could also create insanely powerful items in Oblivion without any skill and have both those powerful effects on you at all times. There are some unique items in Skyrim with similar properties, but by the rules of the project I cannot use them, so that's a pickle and a half. Let's see where it goes. So first, mods. I used quite a few and I had to say sorry to Mysticism mod. I'm sorry Mysticism, come back to me. I need you. You have damage reflecting spells and spells silencing spellcasters, very roleplay appropriate. The latter are the most useful early and mid-game. Late in the game your shock spells will become so immensely OP, and they will simply become more effective at turning the enemy spellcasting off. Vokrii scroll perks turned out to be very useful. I've always imagined Witchhunters as scholarly types, probably because of Van Helsing, relying on gadgets, magic items and such to hunt down warlocks and werewolves and vampires, so I thought using scrolls as often as possible would kinda fit. With those perks, the full favor with the Julianos from Wintersun mod, and some cutting-edge fortified destruction potions, your destruction spells will be about 500% stronger when cast from scrolls. Legendary Skyrim Crossbows mod was used to get access to crossbows without joining the downguard, and I can't use quest-locked things in the project. I am using very basic early game crossbows here, but since I can perk enchanting and alchemy, it's not a problem at all. Spell research has a neat scroll crafting mechanics, which will be mighty useful. It has patches to import spells from many spell mods into the system, so if you want a scroll heavy character, spell research is definitely your go-to mod. The Witchhunter wears a Synod robe from Beyond Skyrim Bruma, hinting at his backstory, a mask from Face Masks of Skyrim, and some bits and bobs from Bandolier bags and pouches. Considering the ungodly amount of potions and scrolls we will eventually end up with, some extra carrying capacity is a good idea. The race is the inevitable Breton. There is no better for a witch hunter, or, well, any character actually, really. I used Morningstar with a constant passive 15% spell absorption, but since we won't be able to reach 100 anyway, maybe the vanilla approach would be better. The attribute spread is, well, there is no spread, just put everything in health. There is almost no call for high stamina with a crossbow as your main and only weapon, and magicka will be increased with items and potions, but also less indispensable than for other magic characters, because we will use Okato's Recital to auto-cast a few buff spells for free, and keep a stock of spell scrolls, which of course don't require any magicka. The standing stone is vanilla Atronach. What else? Breton and Atronach are destined to be together.
No! God, please, no!
The Wintersun Deity is Julianos, whose devotee ability enhances the effectiveness of all our spells and scrolls and decreases the cost of all spells. The main skills are Archery, Destruction, Conjuration, Illusion as a proxy for Mysticism skills, so no mind control spells or perks are used, just the Silence and Reflect damage spells. Then Lockpicking, because the Oblivion Witchhunter had Security skill. I used it to hotwire some Dwemer constructs. And finally, Enchanting and Alchemy. Yes! Yes! In Archery, take the close range perks up to Breaching Shot, also Ranger, Power Shot and Quick Shot. You won't have many occasions to pull off a proper sniper shot, because due to lockpicking perks you will always travel with some sort of a very loud company. Moving fast while aiming is a major jump in effectiveness for this build due to low armor rating, forcing you to bet on your mobility. Eagle Eye and 1 rank of Steady Hand are very optional, because we are going to have the haste spell auto-cast via Okato's Recital, which means 10 seconds of slow time at the start of each combat. Just enough to land some precise shots if you need to evenly distribute paralysis poison among different enemies. Speaking of which, here are the alchemy perks. We invest both in beneficial potions, with both ranks of slow metabolism and adrenaline. I had almost no other ways of emulating the original Witchhunter's athletics skill. Even the class in classic classes doesn't have a movement speed buff. So I went for this and a Summermyst enchantment. All ranks of concentrated poison are a godsend because of the sheer amount of buffs your destruction spells will get, which you can enhance further with cheap and easy to make poison of weakness to magic and slow. Alchemy matters a lot for the build, and you shouldn't embark on any serious adventure without a batch of those poisons and some fortified destruction and fortified archery potions. In enchanting we have all the central perks, including extra effect. This and the benefactor perk from alchemy means we can upgrade our crossbows to make them deal 350 damage per shot without any smithing perks at all. Just make yourself a set of fortified alchemy and fortified smithing items. The scroll sage and scroll hunter, especially with a scroll crafting mod used, will grant you the ability, for example, to cast Chain Lightning with 700 points of damage when it's on a scroll. Add your 60% weakness to magic poison, and you can build up over 1000 damage, I believe? Something in the ballpark? Finding scrolls on corpses will introduce a little bit of a random element to your arsenal, and make it easier for you to accumulate a sizable batch of useful scrolls. To get the most out of scrolls, let's perk up the lightning spells all the way up to Hellstorm. Also 1 rank of Rune Master and Hethod's Disjunction. Your lightning cloak when cast from a scroll will have both its damage and range increased, so why not make it apply some weakness to shock as well? To be frank, I am not 100% sure if a scroll will work with the perk, but regardless, you will have to cast the spell normally from time to time anyway. Now the illusion skill serves as a proxy for mysticism, so I haven't put many perk points in, as I didn't want to use the mind affecting spells. Reflection and Shadow's Mirror, the 2 melee damage reflecting spells, are the main reason for the skill to have any perks at all. Also silence perks, which have their effective level raised when dual cast, so dual casting was taken, and so was quiet casting. Even without any perks, Sneak can still be useful for unarmored characters, and I even enhanced Sneak with enchantments, which means we can open every combat with a crossbow sneak attack or a powerful spell without being detected. Also, if you are hidden and have the Rift Summoner perk, both ranks, you can get very smart about your summons. The only summon I actually used was the Apocalypse spell of Avenging Wraith. The Witchhunter abhors summoning Daedra. He only uses some basic necromancy to punish the bad guys by sending ghosts of people they killed after them. Both ranks of Grand Conjurer are mainly for roleplay. I use it exclusively for the banish spells, cancelling hostile summons. Very situational, but it suits the theme. In lockpicking, which I would skip had it not been an attempt at representing the Oblivion class, I opted for all the perks allowing you to control the Dwemer automatons. It may seem a little bit out of character, but there was no better use for the skill. A character without a melee option could really use some assistance at times, and as I said, he is a little bit of a scholar in my mind. He can know a few things about the Dwemer machines. And remember that Sneak and Alteration skill are also used, although with no perks, so the character should be suitable for a long playthrough, going way beyond level 50 if you so choose. Now for the gear, I used 2 different crossbows, one against spellcasters and the other against heavy hitting fighters. First has chaos damage and damage magicka. If you use this with a lightning cloak on, the enemy spellcasters and even dragons will be completely unable to use spells and shouts near you. The other crossbow has the Clumsy enchantment and the Absorb Armor enchantment. This crossbow is an insanely big brain move because we can't reach any sort of decent armor rating. We will steal it from the enemies and also protect ourselves from the enemy power attacks, which are of course the most dangerous attacks for a low armor rating character. Combined with our high health and the damage reflection spells cast through Okato's Recital, it means we are very much safe from insta-dying in combat. Be careful around traps, though your protective spells and effects depend on the presence of enemies. Then on the clothes and jewelry we have the mask of Fortify Archery and Amplify Distraction, a necklace of Fortify Archery and Amplify Distraction, a ring of Fortify Archery and Link Health and Magicka, robe of Amplify Distraction and Fortify Potions, boots of Fortify Speed and Unbreakable, gloves of Fortify Archery and Fortify Sneak. Fortify Potions enchantment combined with slow metabolism means you will be able to storm through an entire mid-sized dungeon on one Fortify Distraction potion. Link Health and Magicka with our high health means a buff to Magicka of 120 at level 50. Unbreakable provides an extra protection against power attacks in case if you miss with your clumsiness inducing crossbow or are currently using the anti-mage crossbow, and Fortify Speed emulates the athletics skill. Remember that your crucial potions are Fortify Distraction, which you can make in copious amounts from Nightshade and Glowing Mushroom, and Fortify Archery, which you can make from Elf's Ear and Canis Root. And the main poisons are the one with slow and weakness to magic made from Salt and a Death Bell, and lingering damage health poison made by mixing some Impstool and Mora Tapinella. And here is the list of spells. I took care to make him feel like an Oblivion character specialized in Mysticism and Destruction. Shaido's Mirror reflects all damage from a normal attack. It's a master level spell, but luckily not a ritual spell, so it can go into Okato's Recital along with Ebony Flesh and Haste, which slows down time for 10 seconds. I also used some Scrolls of Fingers of the Mountain, which only works outdoors, but it's insane, especially with all your buffs. It will deal like 2000 additional shock damage whenever someone is in range is struck by another lightning spell. Phew. And then some silence spells, preferably dual cast for increased effectiveness. If the enemies still resist your best silencing spell, chug a Fortify Illusion potion. And then, of course, a few good old vanilla lightning spells like Chain Lightning and the Cloak, which will be extremely powerful when cast from scrolls, but still very useful when cast normally. And that is about it. In the end, this is a pretty unique character. You will need to spend some time on preparation every few adventures, crafting potions and scrolls, but that's intentional and suits the concept. You will deal obscene damage in a huge radius, passively, if you can secure a batch of Lightning Cloak scrolls. You will turn the spellcasters useless and helpless. You will protect yourself against fighters in a rather unique way of taking armor rating from them and disabling power attacks. Archers may occasionally be a problem, but that's why you have the slow time effect every combat, so that you can take them down first. And here we reach the end of our journey through the 21 Oblivion character classes. It was really a blast. I was forced to think out of the box sometimes, reject crafting sometimes, check out mods I otherwise wouldn't check, and I am rather happy about how the project turned out. Many thanks again to PC Outcast, who is the original Oblivion class Skyrim builds author for Vanilla and Ordinator. I forgot to link his builds in some of mine, so I am going to fix it after this is published. I hope you will have some use for these builds, especially if you play with Vokrii. I think I must have used all the perks available in the mod, definitely the overwhelming majority of them, so I can possibly make a semi-competent guide now. Let me know if it is something you would like to watch. Other than that, leave a like, subscribe, share and generally smash buttons. We will see each other again. Bye bye.